Welcome back. All right, so news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Wednesday, September the 25th. I will be doing a preview video today as well for Wednesday and Thursday. Busier night today than on Thursday, but it's preseason, so yeah, that happens. So we'll start off talking about Boston. We'll end off talking about Boston a little bit as well. Brad Marchand at the top of the board. For full participant at practice for the Boston Bruins, so he had a number of medical procedures done over the offseason to deal with some injuries he'd been having. And he wants to play a couple of preseason games. So the expectation was he should be back for the start of the regular season. Looks like he should get into some preseason action as well. For the Boston Bruins, it is vitally important that Marchand be in the lineup. And it looks like that's going to be the case come opening night. So good on him. And we'll see how things turn out. News out of Utah. Nick Bjugstad dealing with an upper body injury, and according to Craig Morgan, he's not expected to be there for the start of the regular season. He is listed as week to week, so that would add up. Again, what's my rule with week to week? At least 2 weeks. So at least 2 weeks means Bjugstad likely to miss the season opener. We'll see how many games he misses. Of course, for Utah, this is going to be a really, really odd season. They look like a pretty good team to me, but we'll see what happens once the regular season gets started. The New York Rangers, Panarin dealing with a lower body injury is day to day. He left the game early last night, but it doesn't sound like it's anything major with Panarin. They're just going to keep an eye on him, of course. Ryan Lindgren, a little bit more involved. So I mentioned this in the news video last night. If Lindgren doesn't return to the game, it's got to be something not necessarily major, but something he can't come back and play through. So it's an upper body injury for Lindgren. He's out at least a few weeks, which means the listing I saw too, there's an official listing of 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll see how long he's out for, but the New York Rangers need him on the blue line. Lindgren, one of my favorite defensemen in the league, partly for the fact that he just keeps getting up. He doesn't stay out for very long. The soonest that he can come back, he will. Of course, last night for the New York Rangers, and understanding this is preseason, so you could just use one of those memory wiper thingies when you get to the regular season. They scored 6 in the third period to defeat the Islanders 6-4. So the Islanders had a bit of a meltdown. But again, it's preseason, so you learn from that and you move on. It's not necessarily a big deal, but if you're a Rangers fan, you probably enjoyed the result last night, didn't you? Artem Zub, dealing with a lower body injury. He's being evaluated, according to Bruce Garriock. He will be... there will likely be an update from Bruce later in the day on how long Zub might be out. The good news for Sens fans, Ullmark says he's 100%, and he could play tomorrow for the Ottawa Senators. So again, getting into those preseason games is important. Get yourself into the swing of things, and then you're ready to go for the regular season. Good news for Sens fans. And the Sens, of course, won last night again over Toronto. Again, it's preseason, so it doesn't mean a lot, but it's still kind of nice to see if you're a Sens fan. Lekkerimäki had 2 assists last night in the 3-1 win over Seattle for Vancouver. Lekkerimäki is looking to make his way onto the roster for the regular season, and so far in the preseason, looks good. That being said, we'll see what happens between now and the start of the regular season and whether or not there is still that spot for him. Rick Tocchet acknowledging there are spots in the roster. If young players, play really, really well, they could win those spots. I know there are some Canuck fans hoping Ratu becomes one that does that as well. We're just going to have to wait and see, right? But the Canucks have depth, which is a nice problem to have. It's always a good thing when you're looking at your team and going, I don't want them to cut this guy because he's really good. It means you got a pretty good team right there. The Montreal Canadiens, and again, it's preseason, but back-to-back shutouts are still a thing to talk about. They've shut out Philadelphia and the New Jersey Devils. The 3-0 shutout win over the New Jersey Devils last night. Another example of how, Montreal wants to be competitive this season. We'll see how it all turns out for them. The expectations on them aren't all that high, but the expectations they have for themselves seem to be a little bit higher. So we'll see how things go for Montreal, but back-to-back shutouts in the preseason, still a nice thing to talk about. So coming back to Boston, the Jeremy Swayman discussions, Pierre LeBrun saying that they've basically ground to a halt. There's been no change, none. Swayman wants an 8-year deal. If he wants an 8-year deal, the cap hit's going to be relatively high, right? So think along the lines of like what UC Saros got from Nashville, right? I think it's a $7.74 million cap hit for Saros. Maybe Swayman wants something in that $8 million. Again, I've seen the reports that he wants 10. I've seen people saying he doesn't want 10. But again, If the Bruins were offering him a 3-year deal, which was the rumor, a week ago, an 8-year deal would be kind of outside of what they're offering. And at this point in time, there's just a big difference of opinion between the team and the player, which doesn't seem like it's being bridged anytime soon. The deadline being seen as kind of, opening night to get this done. Opening night's not that far off. Hopefully somebody picks up the phone and gets this done. I would gladly mediate this process if I was allowed to. If there was some way I could mediate this and go, all right, let's just, okay, you're not getting that amount of money. You guys aren't spending that little, and work it out from there. But I'm not a mediator, so there you go. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.